15, that shit is done. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. I prove it. We play on. There we go, baby. Doctor. Grab the nursing back, buddy. 380K viewers, 383K. What does it really matter? Honestly, Doc.
The fuck? Who you breaking out? Yeah, what's good? Who you breaking out? You need out? This is not gonna work.
I forgot to put it in there. Oh, it's When I tell you, I'm not gonna fucking lose. Period. This is how I fucking play. GG, bitch. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. I prove it. We play on. There we go, baby. How did they think that was okay to even put it in the game?
You did it. Cut the timer early. We are in a draft, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Sunday. Hope the weekend's been good for you. Treated you nice, treated you right. We're at the 10 spot. We're in a BestBall mania. Got a BBM on deck like I'm Snow Bunny. At the 10 spot, I've done a fair bit. I can't remember if it was the first or second day where I did the Nico Ladd start. Just because it gives you a great 17 stack to begin with. I could go Amon-Ra. I'm not too high ownership on Amon-Ra. I feel like at the 10 spot, alright, I was going to say I get a lot of Puka. I'd be happy to take McCaffrey here. I don't really have many teams with him. If not, what do I want to do? I mean, I could... Let's play off of Amon-Ra. I haven't done a draft where I look for how he... Or I guess how I would build most Amon-Ra starts. They do play against Minnesota 17, so that's the big stack you would want to target. Otherwise... If you go solo Amon-Ra, I think you can get away with not taking Goff, especially with Ben Johnson now out of the picture. If you then also take like Laporta or Jamo, I think you definitely have to take Goff. That's pretty self-explanatory. Detroit does play the Steelers. That was a kind of weird angle I took much early in the offseason. I wasn't streaming when I did it though. Before Rodgers signed with the Steelers, I was doing a couple lines where I would take Amon-Ra or Gibbs to start and then just build it through like a Pittsburgh lineup because you can get Waddle and Metcalf fairly easily, and then the rest of your stack is super easy to build because you only need Rodgers and then some other bozo. I mean, we could even do a similar thing showing it off here. So why not? This isn't Waddle, though. Let's go on a chain. But then you have two Pittsburgh games to stack up on an offense that is potentially undervalued, was certainly undervalued back then when Rodgers wasn't on the team. And all of a sudden you have a fairly unique lineup prioritizing Pittsburgh games and not too much to worry about in the terms of actual, like, player stability, I guess. Like, every individual player you're taking, you feel comfortable about. It's just the game stacks that you're building up to are much more different than what you would usually be doing. I don't want you ad, man. So, yeah. We'll test out. See if we can show off something like that today. See what the draft gives us. What the draft gods have in store for this fine, fine Sunday. Yeah, I was taking Rodgers when he was at like 20 picks later in ADP. And it felt good. It felt real good. Alright, let's reorganize this shit. And let's get that music back up. Admittedly, this isn't the great look that I'm like, oh yeah, Pittsburgh stack, while demonstrating my fandom on my forehead. But I believe in it. It's also more so the game stack is fairly easy to get into, considering the ADP that you have to invest into it. Like, Rodgers is a starting quarterback on the off chance that they were pretty run heavy. Apologize, I hit the mic. The Jets were, sorry, not run heavy. The Jets were pretty pass heavy last year. I don't think that translates to the Steelers necessarily, but Rodgers can still throw the ball. To what level of efficiency? That will be seen. But only time will tell. And yeah, we just play into Evans Miami. That's pretty standard. for Metcalf at this next pick. Yeah, Judkins, at least in the short term, I think is going to fall a fair bit. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up going in this draft. I'm probably not... Well, I guess if I'm angling Steelers, I do have to take him, since they play Cleveland 17. My thought process last night was, I'm going to wait until his ADP falls further, and then I'm happy to take him on the dip. Like, the NFL is a weird place. I think ultimately not much is going to end up happening to him unless it comes out like that the details are far worse than we could imagine. But there's enough time between now and the season start, and NFL players have a lot more leeway than other people, that I think he'll likely be fine. So you kind of wait for the ADP dip of, I'm going to guess, like 10 spots maybe. And then once you're in a draft and his ADP is adjusted 10 spots later than it currently is, and he falls a couple picks, then you're getting like peak value. I'm going to queue him up just so we can keep an eye on him, see where he lands in this draft. Where do my picks align with what I could take him at? I mean, yeah, 82. I'll do it at 82. It's fine by me. It's literally just under 10 spots past. I'm assuming from yesterday before the news dropped, he was what, like 70, 72? He was right next to Caleb. So yeah, it would be 10 spots past what his ADP was yesterday. Enough of these ads. You gotta get me on YouTube Premium. Cut the shit. Alright. 9 picks away. We're looking at 58 and 63. What's the angle? Certainly have Addison. That'll most likely be the play. 63. 63, let's check the board. I'm likely going to take Addison early just so I don't get sniped off getting a mini in Detroit, Minnesota 17. And also because I'm not too concerned about getting the rest of these players around 58. Like, I like Odunze, but in this lineup I don't feel the need to press for it. We'll see what happens. I don't think this is a Tampa Bay double. I also saw some injury stuff yesterday. I can't remember the guy's name, but I follow him on Twitter, and he was fairly accurate last season during the midway. Thanks, Robbie G. How you doing, brother? Basically saying Godwin may take a little bit, and Egbuka should have a fair bit of run early in the season. Yeah, I'm not too... I mean, I like Mixon. I'm not too pressed about getting him on this lineup, I don't think. Yeah, I'll probably take Judy. I'm going to go Addison and then likely Judy. Because that gets me into Cleveland, and I'm not banking on hitting Judkins at 82. I fucks with it. All right, Judy. Hopefully you can maintain with Papa Flacco at the helm. And I will hand up admit, it's not too risky, but it is fairly risky what I'm trying to do here at running back. Caleb should be there, though. And that'll be fine playing into what we want. Actually, he won't. miscalculated there. But I do think Judkins will be there. But that's the big risk. But risk is what you want in BBM. Ceiling, ceiling, ceiling. If we miss on both of them, though, Pacheco maybe has a slight fall. I mean, Aaron Jones will be there. So I'm not too worried. Hawk was a player I loved last year, but I think I maybe underestimated. Not fully. I was pretty spot on when I did my like target analysis of how many targets Hawkinson would end up on the season. Like expecting on a per game average at least. Because I didn't try to guess when he would come back. But I do need to keep in mind, I am most of the time overly optimistic on these players who come into the season injured. Until I need to see the news like, hey, this might take this guy a little bit, and I'm like, oh, alright. But until I do, I'm certainly over optimistic. Alright. This will be a telling sign for at least what the early community thinks about Judkins and the arrest. Caleb has fallen too. I've seen Johnson fall a fair bit in my drafts. I was expecting there would have been some negative pop-up there for him, but guess not. Speak of the devil, there he goes. I would probably just do both. 87. Yeah, Jones could make it back. I at this point apparently am a Pacheco stan. That's what I've learned about myself. And even though this contradicts what I said earlier about waiting to draft him, because I am going to angle for like multiple Steelers matchups, I do think I just need to play into the game stack. So we'll see what happens. Alright. Hopefully Judkins can find the Lord. And then fine. Going Jones, the next one. Feeling pretty set at running back. If Jones isn't there, Jordan Mason is fine. Hawkinson could be a consideration, but like, given the, I don't know, in my eyes, since I'm not, I would be happy to get McCarthy, since I'm not fully banking on it, and I know I'm going to be taking Rodgers, I can't just do what I did the other day and do like a Pitt tight end double along with someone else with some upside. Which admittedly scares the shit out of me from a like season-long point output perspective. But in the playoffs, it could be to your benefit. Appreciate you, Robbie. I'll pull up this view. We can get a little bit of a good rendition of it. Amon-Ra, Chain, Evans, Metcalf, Addison, Judy, Judkins, Jones. 3-5 right now. The initial quarterback we're going to be taking apart from Rodgers is the big question right now, admittedly. So let's think about where we could line up. Does Fields maybe line up? Because I'm fine with a naked Fields. Could maybe bullshit my way into a... I was thinking about bullshitting my way into a Drake May stack. Even though I said earlier Goff is not a necessity with just just Amon-Ra. If he does fall, I'm more than happy to do that. And we play into 16-17 with Goff, so it might just be golfing it up. It's likely the play I'm going to make. How many ads are you going to serve me, YouTube Music? I really got to get on my shit. Start paying the fucking corporation to let me listen freely. I'll do this just to see where he ends up. Baker's still on board as a surprise. And frankly, one I'm not sure I fully understand why. And I do prefer him to Goff. Warren would be another good pick here. So yeah, if either of these top two make it to me, I'll do a little dance, do a little jig. Alright, I mean, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Now we just definitely prioritize Otten later. And admittedly, much different than the like giga stack I did yesterday with Jackson Tampa Bay. This Mayfield pick is primarily because he's going to provide the fair bit of upside and safety, I think, to actually get us into the playoffs. And then that's when we at least hope Rodgers can put up some numbers. Not to say that he can't from a week-to-week basis during the regular season. It's just a much more risky proposition. So I'm fine getting a quarterback that I feel fairly strong about. There he is. I'm sleeping at the wheel. I'm sleeping at the wheel. Definitely could have been Njoku as well. The other, if you went really fucking low at quarterback, I did this on my Hurts stack. I took Flacco because he plays. Oh no, they're the same bye. There was something, I can't remember what it was when I was doing the Hurts stack, that was like Flacco played well into it. It was very strange, but it worked well. Flacco's the quarterback. I think you take a 3 if you have two high-risk quarterbacks and just want a little bit of early season points. The sad part is knowing the Browns, they will at some point move on from him, even though they likely shouldn't. To justify the Najee Harris pick, it was mainly, I don't expect I'm going to be overly targeting. I mean, I guess Rachaad White would be a fair shout, but like the rest of these running backs, I'm not going to be pushing too hard into, and Najee at least gives us some high-end week-to-week upside. Not, in my opinion, season long would require a pretty major Hampton injury. All right, let's start building out the rest of this. We are looking at 30, 35, and then we'll just mark it in the middle at 55. All right. Loveland, I said it before, even though it doesn't play well into this lineup, is one of the few tight ends in this range that I perceive as having top 5 tight end upside. What is going on with the ADP in this draft? Warren doesn't really play into this lineup. Neither does Stevenson. This is going to be a weird pick. It's likely Loveland, just to take upside with the Pitt tight ends we're taking later. I think I'm fine with that. The very minor consideration there, which really should not be much of a consideration, but it's just a nice like justification point, I guess, would be the fact, oh well, to be fair, does play Cleveland 15, so that's a nice little bonus. But apart from that, just him being in interdivision with Minnesota and Detroit is nice because, you know, you have guaranteed games against each other. They can hopefully, during the season, do a little bit of output. All right, I think we can close the book on running back here. And then we're basically looking at, more likely than not, both Pittsburgh tight ends. Rodgers at some point. Calvin Austin is like an okay upside play. I did want to angle Otten. I don't know, we'll see. Considering I can go Freiermuth, we'll probably just let Jonah fall, hopefully, to us. But these next couple picks are just kind of best available. Who do you like in my mind, since I don't think there's too much further stacking we can push off of, but we'll see if anything comes to me in the meantime. 55 and 60. I mean, Chicago does play Green Bay. Dobbs ain't bad, but I feel like the team doesn't really like him. I don't know. I like him a fair bit, though. 60, I guess we would have to go Jonnu. I just don't see, like... I don't know. I'm not going to feign the ability to understand the Pittsburgh tight end position right now. That's above my pay grade by a fair bit. Pitts is another 10 on a tight end. I've talked about him on a fair bit of these streams. Just at this range, one of the few guys that I think has top 5 tight end upside. Obviously, though, an extremely low floor with Pitts and a guy that has burned me numerous times in the past. But yeah, we'll go Dobbs. I'm fine with that. I'm gonna remove this song from this. All right, Romeo. Romeo, Romeo, where art thou? Damn it. You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. You done fucked this shit up for me. I really gotta take Jonnu Smith? Are you fucking kidding me? Alright, Jonnu, welcome to the team. And then we'll reach on McMillan. This now heavily prioritizes Otten, since we have 2 week 5 tight end buys. I was more so hoping that I could take someone else there and then take Freiermuth with the last pick, so I wouldn't have to, like, yeah, they'd be on the same buy, but it'd be a last pick upside thing. Now we are at the point where, like, Otten kind of needs to be on this roster, in my opinion. To be fair, though, at tight end, like, missing 1 week of tight end production can, like, not be the worst thing in the world, especially if your rest of your team's ceiling finds its way. Like, that 1 week of, like, what, maybe 8 points, it's not going to mean much in the grand scheme of things if, like, Loveland is a top 5 tight end. You know what I mean? Like, that 1 week of Jonnu getting fucking 3 catches for 50 yards ain't going to mean jack. McMillan is definitely a player I struggle with. But hey, I just mentioned earlier how Egbuka could get some early run with Godwin, maybe taking a little bit more time than people expect. Could be completely that McMillan steps up in that early season while they still want to give Egbuka time to kind of find his role, develop into the superstar that I think he'll end up being. 4 picks left. Otten and Rodgers are locked in, the other 2 more open. Considering I do need to get Otten, we are probably just going to take him at 178. And then we'll take Rodgers at the other pick. Hopefully we don't get fucked off that. I'll keep Freiermuth there for now, but we're just not going to be taking him. Sincerely doubt it. Current look at the team, we got Baker, Chain, Judkins, Jones, Harris, White, Amon-Ra, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, Jordan Addison, Jerry Jeudy, Jalen McMillan, Loveland, Jonnu Smith. A wonky Pittsburgh fantasy playoffs stack. Also playing into Tampa Bay, Miami, a little bit of Minnesota, Detroit, and then some additional Flyers in there. Dude, I really do need to get just fucking YouTube music. This is crazy. Give me ASAP Rocky sitting on the dock of the bay. You son of a bitch. How many ads can one man get? Sing it to him, ASAP. Hopefully these next two picks go a fair bit easy. And then the later ones are really just going to be probably best player available. When the evening comes. After this, going to get out there, get a little bit active. Robbie, if you're still here, I have to, I think, prepare my body for November in Japan. I do not walk nearly enough in my daily life to support the amount of walking I'm going to be doing in there in November. So I think that's what I'm going to do today. Pretty boring, but I might just be walking around my neighborhood, listening to Shoe Dog, the audiobook on my phone. And that'll be it. At some point, come back, get some sushi. Looking forward to that later. I'm going to muck that. Now I just sound like a weeb. Talking about Japan and sushi. Come on, Rogers. Make it back to me, brother. Very unlikely that Austin will make it to our next pick. But he would be a perfectly fine 7th receiver. And we get there. Everybody clap. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. Clap, clap, clap. Everything remains the same. Alright, yeah. We do not need Freiermuth. It's probably just going to be Austin if he's there. I guess Roman Wilson would be the backup. I do not share the optimism that other Steelers fans have about Roman Wilson. Just like, oh, he was hurt. He was hurt. It's all right. In my opinion, it doesn't matter if he's hurt. Our wide receiver core was so fucking dead last year. If he had any semblance of ability post-injury, he would have been out there on the field, and he didn't play at all. Like, he wasn't injured the entire season. He was injured early on, and they just never worked him back in, which is either a sign of him not doing any studying while injured, so he didn't learn the playbook enough to be out there, or he's just not good enough to be out there. Neither are great. You know what we could do? Nah. I was going to say draft Samson. Honestly, this is a curious thought. I was not paying attention to where he may have gone. How early did Samson go? How much are people going to reach on Samson with the news? 187 ain't too bad. That's fair. But I also... this is just the risk taker in me. I would have just taken him at 198. I'm honestly not too sure what the second pick would be should Austin be there. The only one we know is we're not doing tight end, so I might as well just exclude that from my mind. I could take Show just to have a quarterback, but I don't think I want to. There's no Houston to play into. I'm you want to talk about another player I'm a stan of, it's Justin Hill. I've been clicking that guy OD in this range. So if he's there at the second pick, sure, might as well. Tutu could be okay, but I don't think I'm going to need another wide receiver. I really think the right play would be running back. but whom? Whomst. Get our Rodgers triple done. And yeah, I don't think we need 8 wide receivers with the lineup. With the first 5 we got, we do not need 8. And sue me, I'm a Steelers fan, but I do fairly like Rodgers this year. My bad. I mean, yeah, it's just Justice Hill if he's there. If he's not, we could just go high upside handcuff with Devin Neal. I just like Justice Hill because he's the only pass catching running back. I don't think they're really gonna move Derrick Henry to that role. He showed off last year that he can blow up in a single game sample size if they give him more run just through the air. So there you go. Single week upside pick, which is more than enough for me. All right, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, that was the draft. Run through it real quick, go through the reasoning again. Start off with Amon-Ra. I don't have too many Amon-Ra shares. I haven't. At the 10 pick, I've been taking a lot of Nico, or if Puka falls, I've been taking him. But good thing about Amon-Ra, it is pretty easy to get Miami into your lineup later at the current ADP. But the angle that I wanted to show off, was that you can kind of do a very strange Pittsburgh playoff stack. They play Miami, Detroit, and then Cleveland. So you already have the 16 matchup with Detroit. Again, this is much better in sprint, but nobody or their mother wants to get in a sprint lobby with me, which is a damn shame. Then you get a chain, so you have the 15 matchup with Pittsburgh. Walk into Evans, you then have 17 there. Get Metcalf, you now have at least some exposure, even if you don't go any further into Pitt. If that's where you want to call it, perfectly fine. I'm just a lunatic Steelers fan here, so keep that in mind. Get your Minnesota with Addison for Amon-Ra 17. Judy for the Steelers 17. Judkins, same thing. We did talk about earlier. I'm personally going to wait for more of the fall. I just had to take Judkins here because of how much I was going to angle towards Pittsburgh later. Aaron Jones, just some further Minnesota exposure. Mayfield fell past his ADP and is a fairly safe quarterback, especially because I'm going to be taking a lot more upside or ceiling, at least relative to ADP at quarterback with Rodgers, and stacking up him. So having Baker is a pretty nice, safe QB1. Najee was just because I wasn't really planning to take too many other running backs, and I like him as a single week upside pick. Rashad White, simply because he's the receiving back in the offense. I don't think he's going to completely disappear this year, and since we have Baker, it makes sense. Loveland is one of the stranger picks here. Let me mute this ad. Loveland is one of the stranger picks here. He's just pure upside. And then a slight benefit is that he plays Cleveland 15 and also is in division with Detroit and Minnesota, who we already have exposure to. But the in division thing, I wouldn't worry too much about. It's more so he's a high ceiling tight end, and by chance he happens to play Cleveland 15, which is nice for us. Jonnu, just because we're already into the Steelers, I honestly would prefer not to take Jonnu. I'd prefer to let him fall to me further in the draft, maybe. At least take him maybe at 159, but whatever. McMillan, just because we hitched our horse to Tampa Bay, might as well get some more stacking for Baker. And then we finish it off with Rodgers, Austin, and Justice Hill, who's just a low-end, fair upside pick. But that's it for today. I will be back tomorrow. Hopefully we can get into a sprint, boys. I would really love to. It'd be nice to do what I want to do in the draft that I want to do. But until then, get out there. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy life. Draft well. Be safe. See you guys.